Prompter free. We're going to get Paul Joseph Watson, who's staying up right now to get on the show. And we're going to get that set up. We're going to have that happen. Look, the frequency is intensifying. The left is allied with Islam, Joe Biggs. Joe, let me ask you this question. Why do you think the left is so allied with a group that is the most backward and twisted we can imagine? I mean, why would they attack ultra-liberal, socialist, kiss the butt of Muhammad and Islam? I mean, why do they tend to attack people that grovel the most to them?
I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand how the left can sit here and grovel at the feet of these kind of people when they openly call for the killing of homosexuals, they openly mistreat women, behead them without any kind of judge or jury. You know, they're allowing these radical Islamists to be judge and jury and to go out and conduct these killings, these mass killings, just like Paul Joseph Watson's called them many times. Bloodthirsty psychopaths. That's what they are. And yet the left just sits there and bows down to their every need that they want and go, it's okay, let's be tolerant, let's be progressive, let's bring those people into America. We need that. No, we don't need another San Bernardino. We don't need another Orlando. Paris has been hit how many times? France and all has been hit how many times in the last 18 months? Belgium twice. This is out of control. At some point in time, these world leaders need to wake up and understand that being tolerant is stupid. Being tolerant is killing people. It's almost at a point where Islamophobia is a defense mechanism that people should almost be Islamophobic.
I mean, Joe, here's my deal. I was against the Iraq war like Donald Trump was because Saddam had been put in by the CIA, stabilized the whole area. He was ordered to attack Iran. He did it. And then they set him up and then told him to invade Kuwait. I'm not saying he was an angel, but they had rock and roll on. 60% of their graduates were women. People could live in peace. Jews and Christians could live there. And then they overthrow him, and it's just crazy to see that Saudi Arabia wanted him out, and Saudi Arabia wants Assad out, and they wanted everybody else out. They wanted to bring down Hosni Mubarak because they want to take over, because they're 80% of Islam. They are the Sunnis.
My buddy's in Iraq right now, and he's actually in Erbil, Iraq, which is outside, it's southeast of Mosul, which has been completely taken over by ISIS.
Is that the same guys we had dinner with at the 4th of July?
No, that was another group of guys. But these are guys who are out there, and what are they doing? They have to rescue these Christian families that have been living in Mosul, and they're being taken to these tent cities to live in. Meanwhile, Obama's taking the radical jihadis and bringing them into America. And now we see what happens all across the country. Belgium numerous times, France numerous times. How many times does this have to happen before these world leaders open their eyes and actually pull their heads out of their butt and do the right thing? And then it's only going to be a matter of time before Fox, CNN comes out and they start blaming it on guns. Well, the back of the truck was full of guns. Well, the guns weren't used. They're going to completely forget that that truck was used as a weapon. You're not going to hear for a sweep of banning trucks.
They're smuggling the weapons in every attack. Remember the guy that tried to kill everybody on the train and American soldiers stopped him and they spun it and said he was just depressed and had a gun. He was shooting people. I mean, all I'm saying is, look, leftists intimidate anybody that lays down to them. That's why they bully patriots and libertarians and conservatives and veterans. They're actually scared of Islam, I think, and that's why they're bending over to it. And they're just such idiots to watch cowards like this try to ally themselves with this. Joe, makes me sick.
Well, I mean, all it's going to do is empower more attacks to happen. Like we see, the stuff continues to happen. These guys are getting emboldened. They're getting empowered. They see these other people doing it. They see them becoming martyrs, and they get off on that. And then social media, Twitter, Facebook, allow these people to go out there and openly call for the killing of Christians, the killing of Jews, the killing of homosexuals, and they do nothing to censor it. But if I put up a picture of me holding a gun or talking about the Second Amendment, I'm told I'm a terrorist. I'm shut down.
Oh, we get censored all the time. All right, Joe Biggs, pop back in with us. I want to go to Paul Joseph Watson in a moment, in about 15 minutes. We've got a special report John Bound filed that we're going to be getting to that is extremely important about the Day of Rage. With George Soros, he'll fund right-wing Nazis in Ukraine, literal right-wing Nazis. Actually, Heil Hitler, that's who he put in as their first president. He'll fund the radical jihadists. They'll use anything to overthrow the civilization, then bring in total control. Let me tell you, that's why they're bringing in, it's got to be 1 million. They're keeping the number secret. Jihadis here, 5 million confirmed in Europe. First they claimed it was 100,000. Remember that a few years ago? Because they're going to let them run wild, go crazy, and then take everybody's rights, saying don't have any free speech. That's what made the Muslims mad. I said that a few years ago. Germany and France and others have declared civil emergency and taken people's free speech. And then right when the martial law was rescinded today, as Joe Biggs pointed out, in fact, I want to go back to Joe if he's ready and then to Paul. That's a key point you raised. They rescinded the martial law edict today, and the terrorist hit. He's already gone to the other studio. I'm going to ask Paul Joseph Watson what he thinks of this. Just briefly, it cost a lot of money to have Paul Watson and crew over in Europe, and his brother and other crew working with him, Steve Watson with his degree in political science and international affairs. These are really educated, informed folks that are having a huge effect worldwide. It takes a lot to be getting ready to send 8 people, including myself, to the RNC next week. It takes a lot to be able to send a crew of 6 to the DNC. David Knight's going to that. It takes a lot to be able to cover Bilderberg and all these other big globalist events and the Triggly-Puff social justice warrior events. It takes a lot to have Paul Watson up at 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning or whatever it is in London right now. And you know what? You've been supplying it. We give you the best nutraceuticals, the best storable foods, the best non-GMO seeds, the best Hillary for Prison and Molon Labe t-shirts, the best films, the best books, all of it at InfoWarsStore.com. And you built InfoWars. Stop thanking me. We're doing this together. Thank you. Let's just all have a group hug here. I mean, really. It's kind of sick when you thank me. We're in this together. This is history happening. Sure, I'm on enemies list. Sure, they're coming after us. Sure. So what? I'm not a scumbag. I know we can have victory if we take action. All that evil men and tyrants need to flourish is that good men and women do nothing. So I want to thank you for your support. The 40% off on the best storable foods out there. There are the lowest prices. It's basically a lost leader at this price. It ends tonight, InfoWarsStore.com. The 10% off on all the nutraceuticals, X2, all of it, Living Defense, shortwave radios, that all ends tonight. 25% off DNA Force, that's running until next week. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com takes you to the nutraceuticals. InfoWarsStore.com is the umbrella site. This is stuff that is super high quality. This is game changing. You think our info's powerful? We only promote and sell and develop products we use, we believe in. I mean, I am the most superstitious person on earth that I know. I don't mean about walking under ladders or don't break mirrors. I mean, I'm a little bit like that, or Friday the 13th type stuff, or knock on wood. I do that quite a bit. But so I'm, you know, I make a joke about myself, but I am superstitious. But my real superstition is God-fearing. And everybody knows this already. I only bring you the very best deals, the very best products at the very lowest prices we can get you. It doesn't matter. You're fun on the tip of the spear. You know the InfoWars hardcore. So InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, or call toll-free 888-253-3139. If you want to see more reporters, more writers, more crew, more people in the field, more game-changing news, more of our stories and information and world understanding, realization, game-changing, we want to support you. Joe ran back, and I'm going to Paul Watson. It'll be more like 45 after now that I go to that tape and then bring in McAdoo and others. But I was asking you that question, Joe. What's your answer to it?
I didn't actually get to hear a chance to hear that question.
I was just asking you. Well, Paul, you heard the question. Let's get Paul first. I'm going to pop back to Watson. I mean, where do you think all this is going? Why does the left think they can get away with bringing these jihadis in? What do you make of this being the end of the martial law, civil emergency in France, the day it's ended and this happens, Paul? I mean, clearly the leftists are allied with Islam. They're bringing them in. They advertise the free goods. That's all on record. What the hell are they thinking? I don't see how they're getting away with this, Paul. What are they doing?
Well, I mean, with regard to them ending the so-called martial law, I don't think it really matters, Alex. I mean, they're going to attack soft targets. There's been an Islamist attack in France every other month for the past 18 months.
And that's the ones they don't cover up. We know they're covering up a bunch.
Exactly. So, I mean, I was in France, you know, a bunch of times recently. They've got security on the door at restaurants who aren't armed. It's complete theater. It's complete nonsense unless you address the real problem, which is violent Islam and a policy of mass immigration and multicultural that brings these people in the first place. Okay, this is either going to be refugees, migrants who have snuck in over the past year, or it's going to be supposedly assimilated, integrated immigrants who have been in France for a number of years.
That's right. The last Paris attack person turned out to be a refugee who was involved bringing in refugees. Yeah. These are military officers involved in infiltration.
The mastermind of the Paris attacks bragged about how they exploited this refugee red carpet to plot and carry out the attacks. One of the individuals involved in the attack, Abdeslam, his friends and neighbors in Molenbeek protected him for months. This is not just about terrorists. It's not just about jihadists. It's about the wider support network of Islamists.
And why won't these governments that throw the book at patriots or citizens, why don't they go arrest, try, and string up the people that aid and abet this?
Because the left wants to destroy Western civilization. It's really important for people to understand this. It's not just a cliche. This is why ISIS, in its own manifesto, put out a few months ago, which we posted, said, we want to recruit left-wing activists, radicalize them, and give them weapons because they share the same agenda as us. They want to tear down Western civilization. This is what the left represents. It's this Saul Alinsky Marxist agenda. This is what's unfolding. This is why they protect and ally with the Islamists. And you can look at France. Here's some more facts. Okay, Pew Research, they asked French people in France, Muslims, if they support suicide bombings. The Muslims living in France right now, 35% of them support suicide bombings under some circumstances. When you ask 18 to 29-year-old Muslims in France, 42% of them support suicide bombings. So it's not a tiny fringe.
And by the way, we're
minority.
pulling up that tweet. I saw Molyneux put it out. Mainline study, mainline poll. I want you to retweet it. We'll post it to InfoWars. We need to send it to Drudge. I mean, it was 25% a year ago. Now it's 30-something% saying jihad inside the West and kill everybody.
Yeah, notice that the younger generation, the supposedly more connected, more modern, more progressive generation, they actually support violence even more than older Muslims. So this problem is getting worse and worse. Then you've got the bigger angle of this. Every time a black person gets shot, we see the video. It's a massive national controversy. We see it on Facebook, millions of views. We see it on Twitter. We see it everywhere. They won't show the bodies. They won't show the attack of what happened in France. Show the bodies. They showed the dead, washed-up body of that kid in Turkey to sell us on this refugee agenda. They won't show the dead body of a little girl with a baby doll next to her in Nice, in France. They won't show it on TV continually. I was watching Sky News. They were blaming Brexit. They were saying, oh, it's because we can't share intelligence with the French that this has happened. We haven't even left the EU, for God's sake. You've got people on CNN saying that the result of this attack will move Europe to the right. And that's the major problem, that the right will be involved.
And notice that we got Pew Research here with 30-something% of the Muslims. We can put it back on screen, saying they support this. This just came out. 18 to 29, 35% support. And that is, and of course, folks, that's crazy. You know, it's way higher than that when you're being asked, are you support killing people? This is bold. This is bold craziness. Why would you bring people in that support just randomly going out during a national holiday and just murdering French people? Why? I mean, my God, can you imagine France compared to the Middle East, how beautiful it is, how nice it is, how good the food is? The French women are all liberal and just grovel and want to be pimped, want to be, put in slave pits. You'd think they just want slave pit slaves, but they don't. They just want to kill themselves. It's like the German minister that got raped by the Muslims, and she covered it up and said Germans did it. Who the hell are these people? What happened to them?
I think the thing about it, Alex, is they want the world to be how they think it should be, not how it actually is. So as long as they stick their head in the sand every time something like this happens, they think it will just go away. Okay, there's the top trending hashtag on Twitter right now, as it is every single time this happens, is pray for Nice. Okay, that's not going to do anything. Hug a Muslim is not going to do anything. The top trending hashtag should not be pray for Nice. It should be fight for Western civilization.
Absolutely, I'm coming right back to you. Let's put it out. Hashtag fight for Western civilization. And we're going to put that on InfoWars.com. Tweet that out, Paul. Take a moment. Do that. Tweet it out. Everybody's going to do that right now. I want to go to Joe Biggs, and again, the West isn't perfect. We've gone and done bad things in these countries to back the bad guys. It's clearly a master plan. There's evil all over. I think this is going to backlash on Muslims down the road. That's part of the larger globalist plan. We know that. In fact, I don't think that. That's the peanut clash of civilizations. Regardless, though, it's wrong to bring in the most backward Muslims, let them do this, Why would they come into somewhere that welcomes them, free welfare, everything, bends over,